Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You know what it's time for? It's time for another fucking review, like the one I did 2 weeks ago. God, I'm on fire with my reviews lately. Don't know why. Keep getting review copies some of the time. Not all the time. Sometimes I have to wait for the release date and purchase it myself. Not really bothered, because most of the time it's not just going to be for review purposes, as you can probably tell. I don't want to say I hope you enjoyed that little opening, because I've started to notice a trend, a big trend with JRPGs that come to Steam lately. Just JRPGs in general on any platform always have those types of openings. I don't have a problem with that, but I will say this, in the near future, if a game is a JRPG and it has an opening like that, I guarantee you that is going right at the beginning of the fucking video, because screw you, it's brilliant. I love it. Anyway, welcome to What I Review. If you're not familiar with what I review is, I find any game on Steam that has just been released, or in the event that the PR person, oh fuck, don't do that please. God damn it, frame rate. Hate it when it does that. It's just like, I'm not idle. Look at me move the mouse, not mouse controller. Anyway, where I find interesting games, I will go to options menu just so it doesn't do that. Where I find interesting new games, well, games I personally find interesting, or if I'm lucky from the PR department, get a review copy for, which has only ever been twice now, and I basically review them. I review them from a critiquing standpoint, a professional standpoint, not based on personal opinions. My personal opinions of the game do come at the very end of the video, so, and bear in mind that my reviews tend to be quite long, but trust me, they will be worth it and very informative. So that's basically the gist of it. That's what I do with my What I Review. And I always try to find the most fascinating thing that's come out. Oh, don't I always. Anyway, for What I Review this week, since shit's just coming out, like, fucking shit's on a fucking plane, literally, like, stuff's just coming out and out and out and out and out. Oh, this is going to be a long title. It's almost like it's a competitor. It's like fucking Naruto all over again. The fucking longest video game title. Fucking hell. Like, is it really necessary? No, it's not. I'm getting sidetracked. I'm sorry. Anyway, this is What I Review. Let's hope I can say this without fucking it up, because I did last time in my Let's Play for the first game. This is... for the throat. Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 2, Sisters Generation. Didn't fuck it up this time. Fucked it up last time in my Let's Play. I think it is a sequel to the first one. I have no idea. I'm still playing the first one. I haven't finished it yet. I think I'm about halfway through it. Couldn't tell you. It is a strategy JRPG, as you can probably tell. And it is developed by Complie Heart, as well as also developed by Idea Factory, and also published by Idea Factory International. Complie Hearts, if this is something that they've developed, it's their first one on Steam. If I am aware of them, I kind of am. Aren't they the same people? But I don't know. I think I'm thinking of a different developer, but this is not Idea Factory's first game. I'll tell you that much. I've reviewed their games in the past. I love their games. They're awesome. But Complie Hearts, first game on Steam. As I said, it's a strategy JRPG with... it's bloody obvious by the opening and by this obvious scream. It's very anime-esque. Again, I will briefly go over the options menu. I do that every time, if I have to, because originally this came out on the PS Vita. In fact, some piece of credit I can give to Idea Factory is they just push games out. Like, I think the first game came out on PC a couple months back, and then there was one last week which I fucking bought like a motherfucker. This came out, what day are we on? Saturday? This came out yesterday, Friday afternoon. And then there's the fucking third game that's already going to be available for pre-order in June 5th. On Vita, of course. And that isn't coming out till July. Idea Factory, you guys just love pushing games out, and I love you for that, but maybe consider having a release schedule to kind of pace it out. Just saying. But we'll briefly go over it. Options menu. Audio sliders for everything, always very nice. I had all this turned down, I don't know why it's turned back up. Voice acting, obviously I have it set on Japanese. You want to know why? Because no discredit to the English voice actresses, I just prefer it. Not any discredit to them whatsoever. I do personally think they're actually pretty good voice actresses in English, but come on, seriously? Like, just, yeah. Camera up and down. Don't know why those are always inverted. I hate it when it's like camera up, you look down, inverted. No, thank you. The options menu for sound, obviously, alright. Game, fast, of course. Video options, obviously, not that much. Again, I am playing in windowed mode. Do I have to keep reminding people of this? Yes, I do. I play in windowed mode because it's easier for me to record. Deal with it. And of course, it does have mouse and keyboard support and controller, which is always handy. Bollocks. And it does have rebindable keys, as you can see. Even though it doesn't really give a good... Like, what's button 1? A button. But what is button 1? I mean, it's nice that the information is at the bottom of the screen. That's always good. Gives you a bit of confirmation. It's like, look, button A. As it says down there. Very helpful. Good, good, good. Options menu, not bad, but again... It's a JRPG, it's a Japanese game. You don't really expect the options menu to be on the same level as, like, in GTA 5 or Witcher 3 or whatever. But again, PC market isn't very strong over there as it is over here in Europe and America, but still, they're making progress, That's good, that's good. All we can do is give them criticism in the right direction, and hopefully they'll be on the right track to, as a lot of people would say, the PC master race. Oh god, that's a mouthful, holy hell. But I want to point out as well, before I get started, there will be spoilers in this. I don't usually point this out often, because with my reviews I usually tend to play a couple of hours. I don't tend to play the entirety of a game because I don't have time to play an entire game from start to finish and then review it, because I prefer to try and get the reviews out as fast as possible. Not because I'm trying to beat the competition, no, because obviously it's the idea behind you get the video out the minute the game comes out. There's going to be more traffic than if you were to do it a week later or whatever. So I tend to play a couple of hours of it just to get a general idea. But this I've already put like 7 hours into it. I played the hell out of it yesterday afternoon and yesterday night. So there will probably be spoilers. I do want to point that out. So if you don't want to be spoiled, well, unfortunately my review is probably going to be full of spoilers, so yeah. And I do want to kind of put a bit of an epilepsy warning as well, just in case, because that opening probably had a couple of people seizuring on the floor right now. I will probably put an annotation right there at the beginning before the opening, just to warn people of epilepsy. I'll jump in and I'll try at least to try and critique it as I do. And welcome to the World Hub. Yes, thank you. Welcome to the World Hub. You jump between places, obviously. Big world map. Tons of dungeons, so it's very RPG-esque, except you don't move around like a normal RPG. You have the whole hub world. Now, where's the options menu? Can I turn down the background music a little bit? It's a slight bit loud to the point where I can barely hear myself. Oh, Jesus Christ. Please stop talking. Oh, fucking hell. Can I just go here? Right, I'll go here and just stop the talking. If... Just... I don't know what... That's new. That's definitely new. But, welcome to the world of... Let's see if I can get this correct. Game industry. Okay, I'm just going to do that. Stop talking. Game industry. Now, I want to say something first before you start saying, oh my god, lol, that's game industry reference. If you're not familiar with this series, it thrives off of references and all that stuff, which I will get into later on. But yes, the world is called game industry, which I find fucking hilarious because I love that sort of stuff. You know, references and all that. I'm a sucker for that stuff. So basically what it is you have the main, obviously, story, which you go along by the event markers that appear on the screen. Oh, please, stop, thank you. And of course you have the dungeons that scatter around the whole place. which can be... They're usually very short dungeons. I'm just gonna go here. That talking just will not stop. The dungeons are usually quite short, except for some of them that have maybe 1 or 2 floors. Literal floors, not floors as in F-L-A-W, more like F-L-O-O-R. Floors. But in general, the dungeons are actually quite small and littered with about, if I were to say roughly about 6 or 7 enemies. So there's not... Yeah, can't speak. The dungeons are not that big, but yeah, what are you gonna do? You could say it's kind of story driven in some aspects. And yes, because it's an RPG, there is a generally a lot of talking. But what can you do? There are 4 main places within each one. I think you can very adequately read the names right there. I ain't gonna bother because pronunciation not my best regardless. Each one is full of different places. Now, compared to the first game, there have been numerous changes. You got that, which I'll get to in a minute. And again, it's just like, most of this is just standard RPG stuff which you should be familiar with, so it's not like it's fucking rocket science. Shop, buy, weapons, armor, accessories, all that bollocks. And of course, it wouldn't be a JRPG if you can't dress everybody up. I don't know what the actual term for that is called, but I know it's an actual thing over there. I keep forgetting the actual fucking word for it. It says there is a word tied to that, but I don't know. I forget. I easily forget. Well, obviously, as I said, shop, buy all your shit. It's not really that difficult to figure out. Sell shit. It's not difficult to figure out. Guilds. Guilds, side missions, side quests. Well, not really side missions or side quests, more or less. You get given side quests, each one tied to either defeating enemies or collecting items. That's practically all it is. It's just either kill a certain amount of enemies or collect these certain amount of items. So it's kind of, it reminds me of an MMO a lot. And they can be done whenever. Like, all you have to do is just, like I said back there, for instance, just defeat 1 dolphin. Wow, that's pretty straight to the fucking point. Not even going to give it a name, are you? Usually very creative when it comes to it. Apparently not. It's just called a dolphin. You can do this practically whenever you want. There's literally no time limit. Doesn't matter. Now, the shares I'm not familiar with. There's something to do with that. If I go back, that bar, if I can pull my mouse up. That bar there, which I'm not quite sure what that actually does. I mean, I've read the tutorial messages and I don't seem like aware. I'm still quite confused on what that actually does gameplay wise. It might have something to do, and I probably am just a dumbass that just didn't pay attention. But every quest you complete, as you can see there, one place gains a percentage of increase and one gets one does not get increased, it gets decreased. So you kind of want to, if the shares have actual gameplay relevance, like proper gameplay relevance, not just relevance to the story aspect and the narrative, then it's kind of the thing where you might have to pick and choose and kind of increase the shares. I don't know, personal preference? I don't fucking know. All I do know is that red one, don't increase that. That's part of the narrative, part of the story. You don't want that to go up, you want to get that down to 0 as much as you possibly can. But yeah, side missions, as you can say, do them whenever you want, over and over again. And you can literally just do the same one over and over and over and over again. Repetition, isn't that always good? But again, you don't have to do them. You can do them even when you're doing the main story. You might accidentally do one whilst you're doing the main story. Not bad, not bad. Disc development. Let's move on to disc development. Disc development. Every now and again you are given discs, empty discs. And what you can do is, if you get idea chips, you can literally burn a disc. You can burn, like, here's 2, I'll show you 2 here. You can get certain idea chips, obviously, and with each one, I've already got a couple here, as you can see, they have specific benefits. So if I were to burn if I were to burn some idea chips to a disc and then burn the disc, then I can then equip the disc onto characters and it gives them buffs. Easy enough. Information. What is information? It's mostly, it gives you plans, which I'll go on to in a minute. But it's usually just like random dialogue or just self-references. There was already a fucking reference that I tweeted at yesterday afternoon. Fuck, what was the guy's name? Oh god, it was a, what was it? It was oh god, that's difficult to pronounce. Fake Metalchemist. And his bit of dialogue, the only bit of dialogue he had was equivalent exchange, and I just wanted to slap the devs for that, of just how fucking funny that was. Literally, I had to stop playing for like 5 minutes because I was laughing so hard. If you don't get that reference, you're a dumbass. Oh god, I'm gonna have to censor that. Why is that showing up when I've set myself to offline mode? I don't know. So yeah, sometimes it can give you plans, sometimes it's just a talking cat, for instance. Who's not wearing shorts, pants, skirts? What? Huh? Yeah, it's just sometimes just a random dialogue, and then what's this? And then this is just, obviously, as you get, just random shit, just awesome stuff. Music, pictures, all sorts of good. Now, here's a new feature into the second game. Basically, you have a little helper. I'm just calling her a little helper. Send her into dungeons, and like for instance, you pick a dungeon, out of all the dungeons you've visited. You pick a floor, you pick her equipment. As you can see, pick her equipment, put that on. Yeah, and send her on her way. And that. And there she's gone. And she'll either come back with items and equipment and good stuff, or she could fail and then lose everything. Now this is all in real time, by the way. So even if I'm not playing the actual video game, that's still going to be counting down. Don't know how that works, but fuck it. It works. It benefits me. So yeah, standard RPG stuff. What did you expect? It's an RPG, so of course you want to go some of the stuff. But I thought I might explain some of the stuff that's not usually in an RPG, like that, information, and guilds. But guilds are usually in RPGs. More specifically JRPGs. For some reason I am running out of breath. Don't know why. And obviously if you've grown accustomed to RPGs in well, how to say RPGs or JRPGs, to be honest, JRPGs always have these types of menus. Normal RPGs technically don't. But again, if you feel familiar with JRPGs, you get, yeah, pretty much. Yep. Items. Equipment. Please don't drop frames on me, game. Standard stuff, standard stuff. Except, as you can see, that's there. Keep your eye on that. It's not there. It's not there. And it's not there. And it's not there. Why is that? Gameplay reasons, which I will get to in a bit. But I will explain that in a bit, but I will go over it briefly now. Excuse me. You can get modules. And these modules have different benefits, depending on which one you equip. Of course, stat increases. That's a lot of stats, isn't it? This isn't like fucking Dark Souls, so of course they're not going to be all over the place. Pretty easy to understand. And of course each one changes, adds a bit of a appearance. I like that. The fact that equipping different ones changes how it looks. Awesome. I love that. I always love that in games. It's just a small thing. Commands menu. This is kind of like setting up your skills, but in a very different way. It's not like, oh, macro this key, this button to that, to that, to that, to that. I'll show you. Brief explanation. Yes, Idea Factory seem to have this habit of tying attacks to specific button presses. They did that with Agarest Generations of War 2, which I was okay with, because it made it a bit more fast-paced. And what you do is, you get given different skills every time you level up, of course, different attacks, so on and so on and so on and so on and so forth. Now when you get into battle, attack an enemy, obviously as it says right there, as I show you on the mouse, first attack will always be a basic attack. Each row signifies the attack after that, so once you do the first attack, and then your second attack. Then it's your second attack, you pick either Y, X, or A. And then after you've done one of them, it goes over to the third one. And after you pick one of them, it goes over to the next. You get the idea. And each one is broken up into different categories. Break, focusing on the enemy's guard, and obviously breaking their guard. Power, obvious, self-explanatory, and I'm guessing rush is just dealing a lot of just a bit of both. I'm just guessing, really. And obviously at the bottom you have EX finishers. EX finishers, or just finish. Screw me for adding ER on the end. Is an EX bar during battle. If you stay in a dungeon long enough and do a lot of battles, you'll fill up an EX bar. That EX bar, once it's full up, like with 1 or 2 bars, after your fourth attack, you can press one of the buttons to do a finisher. Simple as that. And that's practically the same across the entire board. And of course, again, each skill tied to CP, as you can see. And the CP, total CP up there. So yeah, very, very, very reminiscent of typical JRPGs. Move the mouse, please. SP skills. I don't know why I said it like that. Of course, again, you have your health and you have your magic. Yeah, health and your magic bar. And again, as pretty self-explanatory that each character has their own unique little attack that does different things. Even though, as you can see in the description in the bottom down there, it likes to, yeah, it likes to just do that. And not familiar with that. Okay. Yeah, those are more skills. Those are more attacks that are tied to the EX. Basically, when you fill up the EX bar, instead of just doing normal attack, and then after your fourth attack doing an EX attack, which doesn't drain the bar, during combat you can press X to activate one of these, which uses, I think actually uses up the entire, like, 1 bar, depending on how much it costs right there. So again, differences, of course. Now, there was a beep then, I heard a beep. Now, party system. You know what a party system is? You damn well should if you played a fucking any kind of RPG of any sort. But this has something different. It has something called a lily rank and coupling. Don't get the wrong ideas. Basically, what you can do is, unlike the first game allows you to take 3 characters into battle. This allows you to take 4. Any characters that are on the sidelines and you're not using in battle, you can put them and couple them with the character. And what that does is, with each one, as you can see, each character has their own benefits to being coupled, or linked up, shall we say. And as you can see, attack, enemy category traits, and increases physical defense. And that's basically the same regardless of you. It's just tied to that single character. So again, it gives you uses. It gives uses and them just sitting on the sidelines. Helpful. Very good. It's always a nice thing to have that. It's plans. This is what I'm talking about, plans. And as you know, we've only got 625 megabytes of space. Wow. Holy hell, that's not even a fucking gigabyte of fucking space. Holy hell. You get given plans from those informations and random people, or you may find them in a dungeon. And what they do is they allow you to actually alter everything. It's like for instance here, the overall battle system. And of course you need the required material to actually get these working. Now what I can do is, if I do have the required material, I can use these. And what they would actually do, for instance, like that would make enemies stronger, for instance. So it's like, in general, from there on out, I think I might be able to turn it on and off. I'm not going to risk it, because I'm doing a fucking review right now. That will make the enemies stronger and stuff from, like, the dungeon. I can change the items in the dungeon. I can add dungeons and just add more enemies to the dungeon and stuff like that. Like, you can actually change up the dungeons to make them harder, to make them a bit weaker, to be, you know, all that stuff, to make them a bit more grindy, so on and so forth. So it's nice. It gives a use to the materials, of course. And again, the materials can also be used on making items and weapons and armor. So yeah, so you can go around in each dungeon, and even when you defeat enemies, and pick up random materials that you can use to create these things, which is quite nice. Because it allows you to vary up the dungeons a little bit, make the enemies stronger or weaker, because there's really no difficulty in the game. There's literally no difficulty in this. It basically comes down to how good of a player you are, or if you just feel like just reading the narrative and listening to the narrative, you can just go for weaker enemies, or if you're a masochist, just go for fortify. I ain't no masochist. We've been over this before, and that's the gist of the menu, basically. That's the gist of the menu. Oh god, talking, please stop. But yeah, it's this thing of let's talk about the hub world a little bit more. The whole hub world as it is, and like the dungeons and so on and so forth. Oh god, it's a fucking Toad reference. Laugh it up, you sheep. I'm not gonna get content ID'd for this because that looks like a fucking toad. Princess wouldn't want that. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's funny. See, give me a random plan. Awesome. This game is absolutely fucking full of it. It's amazing. Basically, the idea is the whole idea behind this franchise is it's purely built off of references, parodies, self-references, like even referencing itself, a lot of fourth wall breaking, taking the piss out of video games and playing into video game tropes, and even doing the same with anime, playing on the tropes and again ripping on it, which is always amusing to me because I always love pointing out tropes and shit within stuff that's not necessary. But that's kind of what it goes for. I mean, if I go down here, there's a fucking island that looks like a fucking controller, for fuck's sake. Like, yeah, it's very reverential. I mean, as I said, the whole fucking world is called game industry. There are even games journalists. They're called games journalists. In the first game, they had a console war, which we're currently in the process of still having. It's just full of this self-aware, self-referential, and just referencing everything. But it's just looking past like all the references and like it just poking fun at stuff. It actually does take kind of a stance and its own opinion on the game industry, like the actual game industry. And it shares its own thoughts and opinions on it, which, if you actually pay attention to it, it's interesting the way it pokes fun at it, but does it in a way that kind of points out its flaws. The flaws, the problems it has, the good things and the bad things, so on and so forth. Okay, I'm going to jump into a dungeon just for the hell of it, just so I can show off stuff. Which is the most recent place? There. That's the most recent place I went to. Why are you talking? And lo and fucking behold, the game runs at 60. If you think I'm fucking kidding, I'm not. You know what? Ever since people started using the word cinematic and all that, and an excuse for a game running at 30, yay, she returned, even though I was doing fuck all. I always take the chance to rip on those developers and companies for like, oh, 30 frames per second, 30 frames per fucking second. Guess what? This is a fucking JRPG from fucking Japan, and they aren't, you know, they're not up to date on everything PC. They can make a fucking game run at 60. You dicks. But anyway, sorry, I just wanted to point that out. So yes, the game is running at 60. I can't record at 60. My PC can't handle it. Anyway. One piece of criticism I want to give is that, if you remember my little Let's Play I did for the first game, which I think was about 5 videos, which I fucking just bleh, I complained a little bit about the animations. I'm happy to say that the animations are a lot better, because my main complaint about the first one was how the animations didn't... I was just going to battle for the hell of it. Just so I can talk. That the animations felt not as smooth. I mean, like... combat wise they were smooth, but moving around at world map weren't so much. I'm glad to say animations a lot better. Anyway, combat system. Of course, you want to see combat system. That's the whole point. It's a strategy-based JRPG. Of course, there's going to be combat. So, Anyway, strategy. As you can see, typical strategy. Turn-based is turn-based combat, but it's fast-paced. Basically, you have a ring. Everybody has a ring. Reference, parody, something. That's the limited area that you can move within. And what you can do, you basically position. Or if you're me, who is overpowered as fuck because I got a bunch of fucking DLC for this when I bought it, which was a bunch of free DLC out of just nowhere, I'm kind of overpowered right now. Yeah, my bad. Not my bad. It's just some Japanese developers just love to give people free DLC of just overpowered stuff. But yeah, but the whole idea is you have the strategy-based, turn-based combat. And you all start off with a ring. And you can move around as much as you want. There's no timer. And basically you can just position and do whatever you want. Obviously, down here, there's a mouse. There's everything I explained before. Every SP skills, all linked up there. They tell you what each one do. Heal, obviously. Raises vitality, and that's obviously special attack. And again, with every special attack and every special ability, has this cone around it. That's kind of the area, shall we say. So like, if I were to back off from the area and let the little cardboard bird out of the area, I can attack it from here because it's obviously the area. Same with everything else, like everything that's in that circle, yeah. Then you have the EX drive, which I mentioned. I don't have any for her, unfortunately. Then you have the attack. I will not press that yet because that's just going to go forward. Obviously you have defend. Defend skips the turn, but obviously raise defenses. You press the RB button. You got HDD on. No, that is not hard drive disk space, as much as you like to believe. Again, this is taking all of its fucking references from computers and stuff, so if you don't know anything about computers, this is going to be baffling to you. You have switch. If you have some characters on the sidelines, you can switch them out in the middle of battle. Useful. People, developers, JRPG developers, do this more often. Look, RPG developers in general, do that. Then you have your items, which you can, again, use, but obviously as well, they have an area effect as well. And then you have the escape, which I think if you get to one side of the ring, you can escape. It doesn't always escape, but it does. But as I was saying about the combat, what you do is, you hit X to attack. I'm not going to demonstrate it right now, because I'm probably going to one-hit kill this thing. Or completely fucking miss the first attack. A small little complaint I will give is, during the combat, there are occasional frame rate spikes. That's a bit disorientating, but it's also bad for me because I'm fucking recording. So, combat, what you do is, first attack, X, then you figure out what to do next. Then again. Boom. It's as simple as that. And like I said, each one is tied to each one. You see up there, you got a HP, and you got the GP. Don't know what GP is, I'm guessing that's something to do with the guard. If I want to break the enemy's guard, which you would want to do, because if you break the enemy's guard, you deal more damage, and then once the enemy's turn, their guard goes back up. Just by a small amount. So you kind of want to whittle... Boop. You kind of want to whittle that down, so you do more damage. And boom, end it like that. Just fuck it. Just one overpowered fucking attack after another and just there. So yeah, combat. Fast paced. Has strategic elements to it. If you're not overpowered like me, then you're gonna have to use the strategy elements. Don't blame me. Blame the DLC. Not my fault. But yeah, the combat, fast paced. I like fast paced combat because it feels a bit better than something that's slow paced and just like move along, moving at the snail's pace. It's like I prefer fast combat. I mean, count timer, like count how long this battle takes, right? I'm just gonna shut up so you can keep count. Easy as that. And I like that fast-paced combat. The fast-paced combat is always very nice to me. I find it very appealing. better than slow pace. I mean, again, strategy, of course, you have to have that element of a bit of slow pace and it's slow pace combat to it. But what can you do? But as I was talking about the size of dungeons, let me just pause the game here. The dungeon is like, it's not even that big. Like, look at the size. Like, look at all this here, and this is the size of the dungeon, like there, and it probably ends around there. It's small. Like, the dungeons are fairly small, which kind of brings up the question if it's like, were they kind of going for a narrative aspect for the game, or were they actually focusing on the combat and the RPG elements? I honestly couldn't tell you, because the size of the dungeons tell me that it's narrative, that they focus a little bit more on the narrative than they did anything else. But again, combat, fast-paced, and obviously enjoyable. And as I was saying about the animations really nice, which is going to go on to my next thing, which is a compliment I gave during my Let's Play to the first game. And I will gladly give that compliment to this. Who is it at Idea Factory that does all, like, who is it in general that does all, like, the designing, the environmental design, the character design, so on and so forth? Because I want to give you some massive fucking respect. Because I've seen many different art styles of, like, of this general style. Obviously, that's a save point. As you can see, multiple save files. You want to have multiple save files, save just in case. I want to be sure. But I've seen many different, like, art styles that have gone, that have, well, how can I say this? I've seen many people attempt this specific style of art with their own unique art style, shall we say? That being the anime art style. And obviously everybody has their own way of doing it. I mean, even me in general, I have my own way of doing it. But with this franchise, the way the environments look, I mean, you're not really going to be looking at freaking texture quality and all that shit. But the one particular credit I want to give is, yes, the background designs during the cutscenes are really, really fucking nice. But the one piece of credit I want to give to, in particular, is the character designs. The character designs are, how can I say it? Like, the only word I can think of describing it, why I was with the talking, the only way I can say it is the character designs are fucking gorgeous. Like, because I'm very finicky when it comes to this art style and, like, the way some artists tend to interpret their own way of doing it. The way Idea Factory have done this art style, I fucking love it. It's just, it's this way. It's like the color. It's colorful, but not too colorful. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of what I said about the first game. I mean, I said that I originally was like, this is a bit too cutesy for me because of the art style, and then I actually got into it and I was like, that fucking ship has sailed. That's gone out the window, down the toilet, and whatever. It's just the way they blend the colours together is what I like the most. Like, it's colourful, but not too colourful. But at the same time, the way they use the colours, the way they blend the colours together, that's what I like. And I think that's the kind of credit I can give. It's just that the character designs are fucking gorgeous, and I loved it. So I want to give massive credit to them for that. I've been wanting to say that for a while now. Anyway, back to the dungeon, shall we? Because I want to briefly go over this for a split second. See that big motherfucker there? If you notice on the map, his icon is completely different. If you look at the legend on the right, he's dangerous, meaning he's tough. But I am equally as tough, because I have a over fucking powered sword. If I die here, I'm going to be fucking ashamed of myself and highly embarrassed. Right, we'll get to the other part. What is why? What is HDD on? It's not hard disk drive. It's not a computer, for fuck's sake. The idea is, every city... Sorry, my throat is getting really fucking dry right now. They're talking for ages, shut up. Every city has a, and yes, again, computer parts. CPU does not stand for what you think it stands for, because it's not a computer. Every single one has HDD. Again, it's not a hard disk drive. Of course not. What it is this. Press. You use up, I think it was about 20% of your SP bar. Transformation. All stats are increased. And you can practically do that as much as you want as long as you got SP. I think sound cut out then. Which... It's always fucking useful to have a transformation. I've never heard... From every piece of narrative I've heard and read or watched, I've never heard anybody complain of a transformation being, you know, terrible, as long as it's incredibly beneficial. And that's kind of the idea behind it, and that's kind of the basis of where the first game kind of had. And of course you can turn it straight back off again. Which, I don't know why would you turn it off? Like, all your stats are increased when you are like this. Why would you turn it off? Makes no sense. I don't know. Maybe it's just... I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But it kind of follows the same basis as the first game. The first game had this thing called a console war, which is still ongoing in modern day society right now, which I wish people would shut up about. Because I'm not going to throw my hat into that discussion, so shut up. So that's kind of the basis of where it comes from. I'm going to do this just to show off the animations and the particle effects, and just how good it looks. Bollocks, I didn't one-hit kill it. I thought that would just surely one-hit kill it, but to be honest, like, this thing is supposed to be uber fucking tough. Thanks to me and my overpowered fucking sword. And dead. As you can see. And level up, get new skills. More skills, no skills, no skills, more skills. As you see. Yes, quite. I managed to actually complete one of the quests there. Even though, again, you can do the quest whenever. So what was that? Was that... Oh yes, it was an EX move. Just... Yeah, so every time you level up and you get given skills again, as I mentioned, you can just slot them into here. Depending on how much CP you have. And that's... I could say the gist of it. I mean, is there anything I really left out about the combat system? I don't think there really is. No, I think I've practically explained everything, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, should we get to the narrative part? The spoiler territory, because obviously I'm going to critique the voice acting, and I want to show you the cutscenes, and I want to show you exactly what I mean by the fucking character designs to prove my fucking point. It's a fucking awesome. Into a cutscene. I'll turn down my commentary so you can listen to the voice acting, because obviously I critique everything, so voice acting is going to be another thing. So enjoy listening to all this.
あれはチカ。チカ、大丈夫ですか？あ、ケイブ。気をしっかり。今助けます。
いいの。私はもうダメ。最後にもう一度ベールお姉様にお会いしたかった。そんな、ようやく会えたのに。
チカのざれ言に耳を貸す必要はないわ。いつものことだから。
Oh god, I'm sorry to break the fucking voice acting there, but fuck me. You could just say bullshitting and just censor it out with fucking asterisk stars, but instead you say BSing. Well, I guess you're censoring it for the kids, but to be honest, this fucking game beat its prequel. It's beat the first game on how long it took for a fucking ecchi scene to show up. Last game it took half an hour. This time it took 10 fucking minutes. And honestly, I have the fucking screenshots. The first 10 minutes are fucking tentacles. You can go look it up. In fact, I will fucking post that shit on Twitter for you to see for yourself. Sorry. I didn't mean to butt in.
ひどい。私、本当に死にかけて。
確かに死にそうって感じじゃないわね。でも、
体は本当に弱ってるです。安静にできる場所に運んだ方がいいです。
ええ。一度教会まで運びましょう。
無理よ。私はもう歩けない。どうか私のことはここに置いていって。
いつまでもふざけていると本当に置いていきますよ。
もう釣れないんだから警部は。
Yeah, voice acting, pretty good. I don't want to say though, do apologise, because during that, fucking DX story is being a pain. Stop with the fucking frame drops, for fuck's sake. Are you behaving now, DX story? You're not dropping frames? Oh, good, she's back. What did you get me? You get me a gift? Oh, washing pole. You wash stuff. Oh, it's a literal washing pole. Okay. I'm sorry, but I'm aware of a weapon that is known as a washing pole, so I'll take all of that, thank you. Oh, goody. Let's go to the 5th floor. So yeah, the voice acting's actually pretty good, and this is why I kind of switched it from English to Japanese, because the one piece of credit I've always given to Japanese voice actors and actresses is they always seem to put in like a ridiculous amount of effort into their, you know, voice acting. Because I know I know in general that voice acting is a very different thing to acting, because as an actor you can use your body, you can use your face, you know, you can use any part of your body to express emotion. As a voice actor you can't use your body, because the only thing people are going to be noticing is your voice. So I always give massive credit to voice actors and actresses. I know it's a difficult thing. Oh good. Oh, we can see a thing in real time. Don't you die at me. Hopefully. But I just prefer the Japanese over the English, because it's this thing where it's like the English voice actresses, they don't, some of them, not all of them, just don't really suit some of the characters. Where it's like they sound too mature when they really shouldn't. You know what I mean? And you got like a child and it sounds like a fucking 18-year-old. It's like, that makes no fucking sense. But again, I just noticed that the Japanese always put like a lot of like effort and energy into their voice acting, and I just appreciate that a lot more, and I like that a lot more. So yeah, voice acting, good. I do apologise for this if you start hearing a lot of scratching in the microphone. I have had to swap over from DX Story to another recording software because apparently DX Story couldn't make it to the end of the fucking review without breaking or constantly dropping frames from 30 to 5. So I've had to swap over to another one of my recording software, so I do apologise for the crackling in the microphone. I'll get it sorted, don't worry. But since we're at the end, I'll let this play over one more time, just to get a bit more of the narrative, and I'll come to a conclusion on it.
さっきとはまるで様子が違うわね。悪い癖なのよ。見逃してあげて。
本物のチカさん、つまりこっちのチカさんが。ええ。各国のシェアを回復させている女神がいると聞いて、女神不在のこの国にはうってつけかと思ったの。それに何よりあなたはベールお姉様のことをご存知なのよね。さあ早く話しなさい。ほら早く。
Jesus Christ. You can make the assumptions yourself, mate.
なんか目が怖いんですけど。いいから、時間がもったいないから早く話しなさい。こちらから出せる情報ならいくらでも渡すから。はい。
Holy hell.
そう。ではベールお姉様は今も犯罪組織の手に落ちたまま。
I haven't finished the first game, so I still have no fucking idea what that place is. Again, I would recommend finishing the first game. Possibly.
はい、それで助けるためにはゲームキャラの助けが必要なんです。
I did warn you at the very beginning of the video, like spoilers, so yeah. It's your own fault. I did warn you.
チカさん、この国のゲームキャラの居場所とかご存知じゃないですか？知っているわ。いえ、正確に言えば知っていたね。どういうことです？この国のゲームキャラはすでに犯罪組織の手に渡っているの。じゃあもうやられちゃったの？ルビーの時みたいに？
Well, that broke the immersion right there. Holy hell, way to kill the mood.
ディスコの破片があればネプギアが直せるはずに。いえ、そのような気配は感じないわ。消されたのであれば国に何らかの予兆があるはずだし。なんで今回はすぐ壊さないんでしょう。さあそこまでは。犯罪組織が何を考えてるかなんてわからないし。ただ壊されてない以上取り戻すチャンスがあるというのは間違いないわね。そうですね。一刻も早く助けないと。そのためには犯罪組織の、いや、もっとわかりやすく下っ端を探して吐かせた方が早いかもね。
あれだけ目立つ風貌をしているんだし、町の誰かが見かけているかもしれないわ。
Hey, that's everything. Right, I think I'm gonna come to King. Oh god, I'm gonna come to a conclusion on this. What can I say? Like, it's kind of a little bit difficult to critique something that's so self-aware and so self-referential and just constantly keeps breaking the fourth wall, referencing like the game industry, video games, gaming culture, video game tropes, and like many other things. Like, it's hard to critique something like that which is already taking the piss out of itself. Like, it's always part of the job, this is always part of us critics' fucking job, is critiquing a fucking game that just takes the piss out of everything, including itself. It's always fucking difficult to critique something like that because it's doing it for me in some aspects. One last thing I would like to point out, which I always forget about the soundtrack, my fucking bad, is that the soundtrack I do actually like the soundtrack for this. It has some modern day stuff in there, and it has some like modern day stuff that they've tried to make sound like old school gaming style. It's good. I like the soundtrack. Just want to throw that out there. So, conclusion. Combat, strategy based, is fairly strategy based if you don't have overpowered weapons, but it is fast paced. The animations are a lot smoother than they were in the first one. There are occasional frame rate spikes, however, every now and again. Not frequently, but every now and again during the battle system. But since the game runs at 60, like, the frame rate spike will just be like, as you probably have seen, it was just probably for like a second or two. Then it just disappears. The art style is... I love the art style. I love the art style, I love the character designs. I'm very... I critique, like, with this sort of art style and like art in general, I'm quite a nasty little critic when it comes to it, because I'm very picky about the specific type of art style that I particularly like. This is one that I actually adore a lot, and whoever the character designers are, you're fucking amazing. I love it. But again, like I said, as it tends to go for that self-referential stuff, the parodying, fuck, I can't say that word, where it parodies everything, it references gaming culture and all that stuff. Like, if that's not your type of thing, you might find the comedy and the references to be, well, most of the comedy to be a bit dry, because it's just fucking loaded with references and so on and so forth. But like, as I probably mentioned in my Let's Play, like the first one, Rebirth 1, was the first one I played. And I fucking loved it. And getting into this, where they've actually changed it, not too much. Like, what they've done is they've changed it, but changed it in a way that they've improved it in some aspects while keeping to the same formula, which is that's not really a bad thing. It's good to stick with what you know how to do and how you can do it really well. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I do. I actually really like it. And it's quite funny as well, because many people might, since of the recent news with fucking FIFA, it's an all-female cast. So if you're looking for a single male, you will not find a single male in this game or any of the others in this franchise, as far as my knowledge goes. It's a purely female cast, which don't bother me, not in the fucking slightest. I find it quite entertaining, actually. Just the banter. It's just, yeah, there's certain personalities, characteristics, and personality traits that you can do with a female character that you can't do with a male character, and it works. It's good. But I could say, yeah, I like this, and I would fucking recommend it. But if this does follow on from the first game, like I said, I haven't finished the first game. I'm about halfway through it. If this does follow on from the first game, I would highly recommend going back and playing the first game and then coming to this, because there's a lot of stuff in the second game, which is this one, stuff I don't know, and I'm guessing they're referencing the first game as the stuff that happened in the first game, and I don't have a fucking clue because I haven't fucking finished it. So I wouldn't recommend that, but it's just, I like it. And it's good. From a professional standpoint, I say it's good. It's built, runs at 60. You hear that, Western developers? But yeah, I think it's good, and it's definitely enjoyable, because I keep fucking laughing at it. Because of all the jokes and the references, but that's just me. But yeah, I'd recommend this highly. It is on sale now. 50% off. It's originally £22 and 99 pence. It's on sale for 50%. So as of right now, till the 5th of June, it's £11, £11.49 pence, or your regional equivalent. If this interests you, I would recommend picking it up now, because it's on sale for 50% off till the 5th of June. I would recommend it. I would recommend picking it up if you're interested, because it's on sale. That's always a good thing. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I do apologise for the frame rate issues during this episode and the way this commentary sounds right now at the end. Blame DX Story. Don't blame me. It's a colossal fuck up with its frame drops. I do apologise for that, but thank you for watching, and ta-ra.